It's a great day. My name is Che Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and I will say revenue focused late night show in the country where we are on a mission. And our mission really is to empower. Our mission is to inspire. And our mission is to provide you, that's right, you, the entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are necessary to execute that big vision you have for the people you would call to serve. On this episode, we have the one and only Katrina Griffin. She's in the building. She'll be talking about how to overcome depression by telling your story. Kind of interesting. What's going on, Katrina? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. And thank you to viewers. Thank you for tuning in because, well, without you, we don't have a show, by the way. So thanks for allowing us to stream into your home, especially during these challenging times we're living in now. You talk about overcoming depression. And at the risk of not sounding too funny here, but I am curious, depression means different things to different people. So when you mention the word depression, what does that mean? And what does that even look like? So we can all be on the same page of what we're trying to overcome.
Right. So depression, it can come in different forms, and sometimes it lasts longer than others. For others, sometimes it's short-lived, sometimes it's long-lived. But I would describe it as a period of sadness, a period of feeling as though things are low in your life, something's not right. And sometimes we just cannot get out of that. Sometimes it's affected by things that have happened to us most recently or even further along in the past, and we haven't been able to come out of that so-called hole that we are in. So I feel like that is what depression is.
And you talk about telling your story for the person that's on here now. And again, this is a loaded question, ladies and gentlemen. We have a nurse here, so it's a loaded question. When it comes to depression, should one also seek counseling or seek help for that? What do you normally recommend if someone's dealing with something like that? Again, it might sound obvious to some of you, but I want to get her view of the world.
Right. I do. I agree. You should seek counseling to some degree. And that counseling doesn't necessarily always have to be from a professional. It could be, your best friend, your mom, your dad, your parent, your sibling. A lot of times people are afraid to get counseling or afraid to speak out of what they're feeling because they think that they are by themselves or they think they may be prejudged. But whatever the case is, whatever you're going through in that moment, it is always good to speak to someone so they can give you some insight and also give you some directive or resources that may be able to point you in the right direction.
We're going to hear your story in a moment, by the way. People are saying, Shay, this sounds good, but what does she know about it, right? And we'll get into her backstory in a moment. You'll talk about all the things she's doing in that field. But what would you say to someone out there? Again, this is not a therapy session, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm curious. If I have someone that I know, it could be a family member. It could be someone I just care about, that they're going through something like depression. What would you recommend that something I could do to be supportive? I mean, instead of saying them every day, get out of it. Is there any suggestions you give for us that have to help other people and be the support of someone that's going through something like that? I know it's a loaded question, but hey, we're just curious.
Yeah, I think that making sure you're checking in on that person. A lot of times people may think that that person is always okay. They seem to be on the move. They're handling things in life, but a lot of times those things mask what that other person may be going through. So I think periodic check-ins are really good to that friend or that coworker, just to make sure, hey, is everything going okay? If you haven't heard from them in a few days, or even just daily check-ins, just making sure that you are reaching out to that person, because sometimes you never know when that one phone call or that one text message might be something that they then say, okay, this is what's going on with me, or I'm experiencing this, and just be that listening ear to them to make sure that they know that they're not alone in the place that they are.
I love it. Now they're curious. Some people have already read your bio, by the way, so they're like, I know who this is. And some of you might be cooking right now. Some of you right now be at the gym. Some of you say, look, Shay, I got family I'm taking care of right now, but I am listening in because this caught my attention. I'd like to know a little about her background because I didn't go to her website. I haven't read her bio. So the question, who are you? That's a good question. And what's the backstory that led you to being so passionate about what you're doing now?
So, again, my name is Katrina Griffin. I am a family nurse practitioner. I've been a family nurse practitioner since 2019. I'm a graduate of Walden University. Prior to that, I'm an undergraduate. I did my undergraduate at Coppin State University, which is located in Baltimore, Maryland, where I received my bachelor's of science in nursing in 2008. From then, I did a lot of all kinds of nursing, ER, med surge, psych nursing. You name it, I did it. And then again, I went on to pursue my career for my master's so that I could then be able to do more education with patients. A lot of times in nursing, we are focused on hands-on, and being a nurse practitioner, we're able to diagnose and also be a little bit more educating with our patients. So I then decided to do that. And then I also opened up during COVID. I decided to start my own business called Trina's Trinkets, which then gave me just some things to do outside of nursing when it did become a little slower in the field at the time when I was working. So that particular business focuses on customized treasures where I do t-shirts and mugs and things like that, all things to make people happy. And then I then started to join Paparazzi jewelry company last year. Again, just trying to make people happy, $5 fabulous jewelry. Amongst those things, I have been through a lot in my life from the time from nursing school up until now. I mean, I think I'm relatable in the sense that I've been through some things that a lot of people have been through: divorces, financial struggles, miscarriages, all things that the normal person will go through, but may not actually ever share their situation with others because they may be embarrassed or aren't sure that someone else out there is like them and can still succeed in what they want to do despite their downfalls.
Well, I thank you for being transparent. You can't just blow by that and say, "Well, I went through a miscarriage. Oh, and I went through a divorce, and I went through this." I mean, some very traumatic pieces. Let's pick any one of them. I'm just curious when you were going through, I'll say the miscarriage, if I can say that. When you were going through that, when did you know that you had reached the part where maybe you were sliding into a depression, and how did you feel about that, and what was it like seeking help?
Yeah, so when I had the miscarriage, it actually happened just this past holiday season, right around Christmas time. I had just got married in May, and we weren't necessarily trying to have a baby, but we did. We got pregnant, and we were happy about the pregnancy. And shortly after, about a month or so into the pregnancy, I found out that the pregnancy had lost its heartbeat, which was pretty devastating. I do have two other children, and I have two bonus children, so this would have been in addition to our family. Just like most pregnancies, we're happy, but in that moment, I wasn't happy just based off of what news I had encountered. I actually work in reproductive health care, and at the time I was working also in abortion health care as well because they kind of tie in together. And it made the situation very difficult for me to be able to still have to provide care to those who needed abortion services. It was a very controversial experience as well, but having to be in that position as a provider and going through the situation on my own actually slid me into a place that I realized I was becoming depressed. I was crying. I wasn't speaking to people. My husband, I felt like I was just snapping at him or the kids and just being in almost like a shell of my own that I knew, because I am a nurse, I knew something wasn't right, and I just couldn't put my finger on what I needed to do. But I just kind of let it out, and then that's when the pageant had came about. And I told myself as I'm scrolling on social media, I saw the pageant pop up, and I said, "This is what I need to do. This will get me out of where I need." At the time, my husband and I actually were doing counseling because of the miscarriage, so I did take the opportunity to speak to a mental health professional to be able to kind of get through what I was going through because it not only affected me, it affected him as well. And then it started to affect our marriage. So we then had to learn to get over that hump as well, even, just after having the miscarriage.
Wow. Thanks. And you talked about that you did go to counseling, and it's probably just in my own little world. I'll say this, that, going to counseling is like the last thing to say, you should go to the church. And I'm a Christian. You don't have to be a Christian if you're watching to relate, but like go to the pastor or go to the church or go to a friend, as you said earlier. And that's so important. But there's this huge stigma, I'll say, in my little community. So y'all don't send me no letters because I'm sure your community is not like that. It's not what you do. For those folks that feel like they're going to be stigmatized for seeking counseling such as you did, what would you say to that person that's watching right now that might be really seriously considering it like as another step, and maybe they've tried the friend and like you talked about earlier, and they tried the community, I'll say it like that, and they're like, wow, should I do it? Should I not do it? Again, I know you're not here to tell folks what to do, but what's your view in the world? What would you say to that person that's watching right now?
I would tell them to do it. Just I use that phrase, just do it, like Nike, just do it. It's funny that you mentioned, the church and things. I actually am married to a pastor. And so normally that would be the first person that I would run to, or first person that anyone would run to. You would run to, your Bible or your pastor or your church community. And in that moment, I couldn't do that. I mean, I could, but he was also experiencing the same thing I was. So we then did have to go to counseling. It just wasn't something that we could settle on our own. And mental health counseling is important because those people are non-biased. They don't know us most of the time, and they're educated and they have the tools that you need to be able to speak to you and provide you resources, again, maybe that your friend may or may not have. They went to school and they're professionals and they know how to read the mind, and they studied these things of the brain and how we interact and things of different mental diagnoses. So that mental health professional, regardless of whether you feel as though you don't want someone knowing your life or your stories, they truly can make things turn around for you, whether you realize it or not. I would say get out there and speak to someone. There's so many different avenues of how you can seek mental health. There are different 1-800 numbers and websites and things. Employers have counseling sessions. A lot of now insurances are actually making that almost like a package when it comes to your insurances, making sure that mental health counseling, mental health resources are at the top of the list of things, just as if we were going to the dentist and going to our regular doctor's offices.
And for the person that's watching, says, Shay, I like that. I might not be to the depression state, but I'm curious, how does she deal with stress? Because someone's watching right now saying, Shay, let her know that I got a lot going on. And for example, our audience, just so you know, a lot of audience are dualpreneurs. They're working full-time jobs and they're full-time entrepreneurs. Shout out to all my 9-to-5 millionaires out there. All right. Keep doing what you're doing. They're like, Shay, let her know that I am married or I'm in a relationship. So that's stressful. Shay, let her know that I'm also working full-time and in my business full-time. Shay, let her know I have kids too. So I get that. And my kids have schedules. Shay, no. I'm raising my hand. Let her know that I'm a caregiver too, by the way. So I've got to care for someone. Oh, Shay, can you let her know I'm involved in my church and my community? And somebody got a list a lot longer than that. Okay. And you're like, so the question you have for Katrina is, how does she juggle everything and all the demands going on in her life and still take care of herself without feeling guilty? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense because I am all of the above, and I am guilty of sometimes not taking care of myself. But I will say I have a planner. That is my go-to. If I don't write it down, it may not get done. So I have a planner where I highlight things, and I have to make sure that I put some kind of me time in it. And me time doesn't always mean that you have to go, for the ladies to go get their hair done, their nails done, or get a pedicure. Sometimes it's just sitting in the house by yourself and just, watching a show for an hour, or just eating, some ice cream. So I try to make time for myself to make sure I pencil that in. For me, it's the little things that make me happy. So I'm okay with being able to just do something by myself for a little bit of time, close the door. I have kids that want to bother me all the time, and my husband needs me, my mom needs me, my older kids need me. So I think having a planner to help get your life organized, and just making sure you set some time to, even pray or whatever that me time is for you, making sure that you get that into your schedule. As
Yeah, we're going
often
to
as
get
you,
into. Go ahead.
I was going to say, as often as you need it. It may not be every day, but once a week, however you can pencil that in, whatever works for you, is very important to make sure you get that done.
I love it, by the way. And we're going to get into that cool sachet that's going on over there, ladies and gentlemen. Don't worry. It's not like I haven't noticed it, okay? I've noticed it. It's there. I'm acknowledging it. And in a second, we're going to talk about it, okay? I haven't forgotten. But I know you're also looking behind her because you might be nosy like I'm nosy and saying, Shay, She has family is forever. It's like it's right there in the shot. Now I'm not sure if she did that purposely or unpurposely, but I know y'all have noticed it, and you might be wondering, okay, it's right there. So take a moment. Is that a slogan that you really have? Was that something you? There's a firm belief. Is that one of your core values? It says family is forever. Take a moment. We're just curious. It has nothing to do with you, but it's there. We're just curious. Tell us about that. Is there a story behind that pillow?
It's not really so much a story. It's just a pillow that's on my sofa, but it actually
It just
means, I
happens
mean,
to
it
be in the
means what it
shot. It
means.
just happens to
Yeah.
be right there beside her. Just happens to fall out the sky. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking.
But I mean, family is forever. Family means a lot to me. I have a big family, and just actually yesterday we got together for family dinner and had fun over the house. So my family is my big. They're my support system.
Now, you also, we met because you participated in the Miss Corporate America Maryland. You gave us a sneak preview earlier about why you did it. But for those folks that are just tuning in now, tell us the backstory, how you got involved in Miss Corporate America. And you represent Miss Corporate America White Marsh, which is inside of Maryland. With all the things going on in your life, why do you think now was the
Yeah.
right time to take on yet another little thing to be part of what you're doing?
I love to stay busy. So when I saw I was I was actually recovering from my miscarriage when I had to have a procedure, and I was recovering and scrolling on social media like we always do, and I saw it pop up, and in that moment I knew that, like I said, it was because I was feeling low, and I had just been laying in the bed and so sobbing and moping around, and I had done pageants before, just small pageants, and I also was Miss Coppin State 2005. So it had been like 20 years since I had done a pageant. And I said, well, I think I can do this. I mean, it's been 20 years, but I think I can still put on a gown and, see if I still got it, so to speak. But even if I didn't win, I knew that was what I needed. It was something I needed to get dressed up, to put some makeup on. And actually the sisterhood is what I was looking for and what I had gained from that. The other young ladies had similar stories of mine. They were entrepreneurials, or they had been through other things, and we were able to connect in that way and be able to share our stories. So just having that sisterhood in that moment was actually what I needed as well.
And boy, what a time was it. And the sisterhood means different things to different folks. What's your definition of sisterhood so we can all be on the same page?
Yeah. So sisterhood to me, again, they don't have to be, obviously don't have to be biological sisters. I have one biological sister and a sister-in-law, two sister-in-laws. And again, they're like their family, their sisters. Sisterhood is basically that opportunity, that networking, being able to have people in your life that share similar stories where you can reach out to them for whatever it may be, a listening ear, similar situations that they've been through, just that person that is able to basically be by your side when you need them.
And we all need sisterhood, brotherhoods. We all need to be together and feel the significance of it. One of the questions I get to ask when we have time, and I have a few minutes now, is what's one of the best pieces of advice you've ever been given? Now, I'll preface it because you already said, hey, Shay, I've had a lot of training, a lot of mentors. You probably read more books you can remember. I've watched more than 10,000 hours of videos by just scrolling my thumb, So I think I'm past that category. But if you had to step back and say, man, Shay, here's one of the best pieces of advice I've ever been given that I want to share with someone else. What is that advice and why is it so important?
So I think one of the best ones is probably a slogan I ran across rather recently, actually, and it stood out to me. And it said, "If you do one thing that pleases you, at least one person is satisfied." And I took that to heart because a lot of times you're doing something for other people, and you never get, like we talked about, you don't get that time to yourself. When I did the pageant, I actually had people telling me, Katrina, you're doing another pageant. Even my husband was like, you're really doing a pageant? And I'm like, yes, I want to do this for me. It didn't matter the outcome. And that could be applied to anything in life, whatever it is that you feel like you would motivate you, or whatever your desire is, whatever reason you have that you want to do it, whether it's just going somewhere to, like I said, to get your nails done, or whether it's doing a big project or a big trick. If that's what satisfies you and it makes you happy, then that is what you need to do.
I love it, by the way. What does success look like and feel like for you these days?
So success, it's a lot. It's all over the place. I've been in different avenues recently. I recently have transitioned from the job that I was previously when like I expressed before, when I was working in reproductive health. I still am working in reproductive health, but I have opted to leave the abortion field. And I won't. It doesn't, as far as politics and things of that nature, it was a personal choice for me. So I am still able to give the education that people need as far as reproductive health, but on a different scale. So I actually have started a new career with the local health department, and I'm able to work with patients of lower economic status and being able to educate them and give them the reproductive health care that they need. Also, trying to do a lot more with my two businesses. I do a lot of vending opportunities, so I have a couple of vending opportunities coming up. So those are other things that's on my success plate. Just trying to continue to keep building, outside of my 9 to 5, just still doing those things that I do on the side and trying to make sure that I have some revenue coming in, but also making myself happy at the same time.
That's awesome, man. That's really awesome. As we come down the home stretch, you talked in the very beginning that everyone should tell their story, and their story can help other folks. Can you frame that once again? And I guess the question is for the person that's out there saying, "Well, my story is like everybody else's." What would you say to them, and why would you continue to encourage them to share their story, share their message with someone else, so their life can be different?
Right. So in the pageant, I actually use the acronym SHIFT, which means seek healing in full transparency. And that means just what it says. In order to heal, you have to be fully transparent about what it is that you're going through. Put down that guard and make sure that you realize, whether you realize it or not, somebody else has been through what you're going through, if not worse. Somebody else has had a miscarriage. Somebody else has had cancer. Somebody else has had financial difficulty. Somebody else has had whatever it is that you're going through. And that way, when you share your story, that person that you're sharing it to, or that those individuals can also reach back out to you and maybe give you tools as to how to fix what it is that you're going through, how to make those changes, how to build and become more confident in what it is that you're going through, so that you don't continue to feel like you have to suffer, but you have to be able to share your story with other people. When you hold it in, it does lead to depression. It leads to feeling as though you don't have a way out, or you're by yourself, or you don't have anything else that is going on. But I can guarantee you that there is something else or someone out there that has been through the same thing that you have been through.
I like that. That's one of the things that's always inspired me. When I found out someone else done something, I feel like, man, if they can do it, so can I. It just encouraged me. As we come down the home stretch, for those folks that are watching, like, man, I love to connect with Katrina. I love to stay in this conversation. Where should they find you on social media or website so they can continue not only to do what you're doing as an entrepreneur, but just to be in that network you're in as well? What should they do?
Yeah, so on Facebook, you can connect on my personal page. It's Katrina Registered Nurse Griffin. And also on Facebook, I have my paparazzi jewelry business page, and that's the Trinket box. And on Instagram, I am at Trine MSNFNP, which is TRINE MSNFNP. And that is my personal page. And it's also linked to my other business page, which is Trina's_Trinkets LLC.
You got a lot going on, but you're making a difference and a huge impact. So thank you so much for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. Thank you for representing Miss Corporate America, Maryland over there. White Marsh in the building. Thanks for all that you do. We got to have you back and connect with you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in, by the way, because without you, well, we don't have a show, by the way. So we appreciate you showing up. It's a lot of choices you have, but you choose to spend this time with us. So thank you so much. I want you to know that you're amazing. I want you to know you're incredible. And no matter what's going on in your life, whether you've been hit with the punch you never saw coming, or you're taking your life to another level, here's what I know, that this is your January 1st. This is a unique opportunity, and your best is still yet to come. Your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come. My name is Che Brown. I'm out. Peace. I'll see you on the other side. Bye-bye.